Can I ask you, do you know what's happened? Look as if there are a number of houses on fire, is it? We believe a jet plane's come down on some houses, but that's all we know.
Disaster at Christmas. Pan Am Flight 103 had been in the air for an hour. The plane, with 50,000 gallons of fuel on board, plunged into a small Scottish town.
Very little hope, I would have thought, for anybody who was in that plane. When it did come to earth, it hit very hard.
I mean, for some time, the impression has been growing upon me that everyone is dead. I mean,
When that plane went down, David was figuring out how to be true to himself as an artist.
Cut.
He had an insatiable appetite for everything.
Hello?
He lived his life saying yes. And when the rest of us were sleeping, he was reading and writing. And when the rest of us were awake, he was more awake.
The aspiring novelist had wanted to surprise his family with an early arrival home. Instead, he wound up on the doomed Flight 103 and never made it. This was what his brother had to say today.
Somewhere in Scotland, Lockerbie, you're looking for your notebook, a pen. It's there in the debris.
And I remember you giving the memorial, and we thought it was great. You were reading letters from David. You know, I get the sense that you kind of look up to him, and he was older, but he thought so highly of you.
Only one man was ever convicted for the crime, a Libyan who was to spend the rest of his life in prison. Today, the government of Scotland released Abdel Basset El Maghrabi.
A Libyan intelligence agent is dying of prostate cancer. Scottish officials are granting him what they call a compassionate release.
Relatives of the victims are outraged.
And then I saw the motorcade, covered from every angle.
Just 8 years of a life sentence here.
The only person ever convicted of the bombing of Flight 103, the murder of your daughter, my brother.
Tonight, the Lockerbie bomber flew home.
I'm watching him go free live on television.
An innocent dying man or mass murderer set free.
I'm asking myself, is the murderer getting away?
On his return to Libya. Most people
And how far would I go to find out whether he is who he seems to be?
Gaddafi's ouster and death in 2011 provided Lockerbie investigators with a new opportunity.
And I guess what I was thinking was, maybe you could show up in Libya.
Yeah.
And maybe it would be possible to get an answer for once. You know, my wife and kids say maybe it's not great for you to be running around the failed state.
You maybe want to be careful about being an American in Libya.
In some perverse way, I'm glad that you're tracking down the last of the killers and finding justice for your brother and my friend. I think that David would have enjoyed the chase and enjoyed the idea that you were going to sit down with his murderer.